yeah, right over here, you have that full screen experience. When it comes down to the Pixel Fold, you actually don't have that with most of the third-party applications. You can basically move it around, but simply just rotate it. Here is your full screen. This is the exact same as the Pixel Fold. Hey everybody, welcome back to Jimmy as Promo, and today we will be unboxing and having our very first impression of the brand new Google Pixel Fold. And as a lifetime user of the Fold devices, meaning I have had Fold 1, Fold 2, Fold 3, and Fold 4, I'm going to give you my thoughts on it initially. I will be coming back to revisit and reshoot another video talking about maybe the Pixel Fold 7 days, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks later. So this way you can see what my thoughts are actually having it and out and about in the wild, and not just having it sitting in the studio and having 2 minutes with it. Now, along with the unboxing, doing quick little comparisons of the Fold 4, I'm also going to throw on a few cases. I'm going to try to see which of these cases are what I'm going to be rocking with. I basically just went to Amazon. I found the 3 that really kind of look good to me, and maybe you're doing the exact same thing if you're thinking of getting the Pixel Fold as well. So I'm going to actually, I purchased it. I'm going to tell you if they're even good or bad, or if you should get it or move on. And we'll also kind of, compare the front of the Pixel Fold with a Pixel 7 Pro. I mean, the internals is pretty much just like the Pixel 7 Pro. I'm not going to go too in depth of all of the specs. Basically, I'm just going to state that I have the porcelain color, 256 gigs of internals, and really it's my thoughts and my experiences with the device that I think is probably going to, mean a little bit more than just, rattling off all of the specs. Now, I did also get the Pixel Watch as well, but I've already unboxed this. I've already used this. My first one that I got, I actually gave it to my dad. So he's been using this, rocking it. He's been loving it. I'm glad to actually get one back here because I did kind of miss it after I gifted it to him. But here we go. Let's unbox this thing. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it feels like in the hand. We'll see. You know what? I honestly, my first thoughts before even looking at it, before touching it, it just reminds me of the Microsoft Duo having a baby with the Z Fold 4, and that's really kind of what this is in terms of what I expect it to be. So let's see. Oh wow, this thing does actually have a lot of heft to it. It's a little bit heavier than what I would have imagined. It's almost like holding, it's literally like holding 2 phones together. Let's see, taking a look at this one here. I mean, there's a lot of bezel around it, but because you have that bezel, you're not going to run into those accidental side touches, which, especially when you're holding something like this, you can see my palms on the bottom go right where the bezels are. So I'm actually fine and okay with this because I don't want to have those accidental touches. And then this is way, again, you're just using it without touching the side of the screen. And it also gives you that physical camera on the very top. So you're not going to have the under display camera. It actually has its room for it, which some people may even prefer. So it can probably take some better images than if they were to put it underneath. So let's see here. I know that they kind of mentioned a little bit about how it doesn't go completely flat. And so we'll kind of see if, anybody's even going to notice it. But I don't know. So far, it feels hefty is really the only way I could put it. It's definitely heavier than the Z Fold 4. And here you can kind of see the differences. And one thing to remember as well, too. So this one's almost kind of more in like a portrait mode when it's opened and sitting normal. This one's more of like a horizontal mode, which is pretty cool, or landscape. So if you run into any, applications where you want it to run or look different on, let's say, the Pixel Fold, all you have to do is just simply rotate it. And now they're going to be, pretty similar. Now, after turning on the Pixel Fold, I noticed that the power button is just way more exemplified. So it's much bigger. It sticks out just a little bit more. I do kind of like it. You just know that it's there. So it looks like right here, you can see that I'm rotating it right now. And it does a really good job with the rotation. It's quick. If you ever run into, the issue of you don't want it to only be on the right-hand side, again, if you want it to kind of be more towards the middle, just rotate the device. That's one of the biggest things that I'm kind of coming up with. Now, before we actually get into that, I forgot we are still actually unboxing this thing. So what we want to do now is take a look to see what else is on the inside of here. So this one is just more or less kind of like a startup user guide. This one's going to be your charging cable. So it doesn't look to be any brick on the inside, but you just have your Type-C to Type-C charging cable. And then this is used if you needed to do, a data transfer. So if you're going from Apple to the Pixel Fold or from a Samsung to the Pixel Fold, you'd be able to plug in if you would need to with this thing right here. But if you're just going from Samsung to a Pixel Fold, you got your Type-C to Type-C right here. So you probably wouldn't need this unless if you have Apple. So we just got into the device. I mean, the screen looks really good. It really just feels like a smaller Pixel tablet, which really it makes a lot of sense. So I just want to say off the bat, if $1,800 sounds to be quite a bit too much to get yourself the Pixel Fold, and you are looking for an experience kind of like this, but without the opportunity of folding it in half and putting it in your pocket, and you just want to get a larger Pixel experience, definitely take a look at the Pixel tablet. That is another one that I do actually have upstairs. I didn't review just yet. It's one of those things that it's basically like a 2-in-1. It's sitting as a dock, giving you your smart home hub, but you can also simply just take it off, and now you're running around with a tablet as well. So one thing that I am realizing right now is the Pixel Fold is operating as 2 screens. What I mean by that is, let's say I take this widget, and you can see that I am on the main home page right here. And this, if I was to, try to just move it anywhere on the screen, it's basically almost trying to tell me to put it, either on this home page or this home page. And there is areas I can put it within this page here, but it's kind of acting as not a singular front page, and I can't even extend it through both of them. So it's basically, this is homepage 1, homepage 2 is what you're kind of looking at. As example, you can see here I have this widget that is spread across the full entire thing. So I could put it up to the crease. I'd be able to extend it right over the crease. I'd be able to press and hold and move it anywhere I would like to. This right here is acting as one singular entity. So for me, I am used to being able to be completely free, moving anything and everywhere that I want it to go. Even with this one up over here, I can make this quite a bit larger. I can bring it down this way. And so again, through the crease. So one thing to keep in mind is, with Samsung Fold devices, which, they've been doing it for almost the 5th generation now. This is a singular home page. Now, if I wanted to, I can create another home page. And let's say that I press and hold on this. And if I was to move it around, then it'll move over to the other page. And so when it comes down over into the Pixel tablet over here, this one right here is acting as that home page. And let's say if I move it over into this area here, now you can see it's pulling up the very next 2. So now this is going to be your home page 1, 2, 3, and 4 is essentially what is happening, if that makes sense to you guys. Now, the one thing I do like about what the Pixel does is now that I have completely cleared anything from this last page over here, it gets rid of them right away. When it does come down to the Samsung phones, if I created this little homepage right here, I do actually have to physically delete it. Now, taking a look at a few applications. First off, let's take a look at Twitter, and you can see that there is quite a big difference. Now, this one is full screen. You can see that it is just taking up the space everywhere. I kept this one a white screen, so you can see exactly where the cutoffs are. What you are able to do on the Pixel Fold is you can double tap on either the left or the right hand side to put it in the middle, put it on the right or put it on the left. Maybe it's easier for you to use with one hand. Again, sometimes when something is a smaller screen, it is easily more consumable, more usable, putting your thumb across, touching it. Now, Samsung, yes, you do have the one hand mode you can do. Now, I do want to show you something. This is very, very important. When it comes down to the Samsung phone, yeah, right over here, you have that full screen experience. When it comes down to the Pixel Fold, you actually don't have that. With most of the third-party applications, you can basically move it around, but simply just rotate it. Here is your full screen. This is the exact same as the Pixel Fold. This is really all basically Google did differently. They're like, hey, when we are in landscape mode, you have the option to do it, with, maybe it's easier and, consumable with the one hand, consumable with not having to extend your eyes across the entire screen to take a look at likes and retweets and, views and such. So it's, again, it is consumable here. They're like, let's put it when it's rotated with the auto rotate, it looks just like the Samsung Galaxy device. You do have full screen when it comes down to, Twitter when it comes down to the Pixel over here. And here's the thing, you can also see it's way more smooth to scroll on the Pixel Fold than what we're doing over here on the Z Fold 4. So now let's take a look at Instagram, and you can just see right here, just with the way that the physical phone is, it does look as if the phone was kind of rotated versus the Samsung phone. So that's just one thing to remember and keep in mind. Now Instagram is much, much smaller. So you do have the option again to go from the left, middle, or the right. This one is way more easily consumable when it comes down over into your one-handed thumb, going anywhere on the display. You are able to rotate this one, make it bigger, so it is taking up more space of the middle. It's not the full entire screen like what Twitter was, but this one is going to be a little bit closer. So they're not all the exact same when it comes down to third-party apps, but just for, don't forget, you are able to rotate it to make it a little bit larger. And then with this one, you're not able to rotate it at all. There is no rotation when it comes down to this one. This is just one way, but this one is the full entire screen. It's gonna be harder to navigate and hit every single thing with the one thumb, but you do have your one hand operation if you would like to, get that thing activated. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Now I wanted to take a look at the Xbox application, because the Xbox application does actually have a version that's made up for basically tablets. You can kind of see the differences here of how they are kind of set up. So this one has tabs on the bottom, this one has tabs on the left hand side. So it looks as if the Microsoft application, in terms of Microsoft Xbox, is formatted for a full screen. I'd be able to go through, take a look, and watch some videos. I have the tabs on the left rather than on the bottom, but it's looking very good. I do like this version right here. When I watch basically anything that I do, when it comes down over onto a tablet, it's sometimes more fun experience than just on the phone itself. But yeah, hey, this one right here, in terms of a third-party application, looks like this one right here is looking the way it's supposed to. It is full screen. You don't have that half screen or third screen. You're not able to double tap it left or right to move it. So I am glad that this one is at least optimized, because it is a content watching thing. There's videos that you can do. You have your home page, and then there is also a little area where you can play some games as well too. So there is a full, Microsoft Jewel game right here that more than likely is probably going to look good on this tablet. So I'm just going to open up just to see what it looks like, so you guys can see it as well too. And then we're going to get into all of these cases to see which one, kind of looks and feels good. So if we go inside of, a continue game. So this one is full screen. This looks exactly like what it does on a tablet. Let's see what happens if I rotate it. Yeah, so this is pretty much staying in tablet form. So this one was optimized for this type of display. Usually if it was with a regular smartphone, this area here is towards the top in a single line. So I guess you do gotta, give it a little click, and she's gonna unlock for you because your fingerprint is already there. So I guess that's pretty nice. Once you power it on, it's going to unlock. Okay, so when it comes down to this first case right here, this is what it looks like on the very back. On the very side over here, this is where you will have a kickstand if you needed to prop it up. This is actually glass on top of the front, so this one is going to protect the device. When you fully, completely open this up, it looks as if it does kind of move around, and because it is kind of magnetic, it is doing its thing. It's kind of releasing and going right back to where it should. So if you're looking for something to give it a little bit, of protection. Now, also too, when it comes down to this, it does hold its own when it comes down to several different angles. But when you go a little bit too far back, it is going to fall. And then that is where the kickstand will come into play. So you pull it out and really kind of put it at what angle you would like. I mean, I don't know, it's okay. You can kind of move the kickstand at different angles as well too. So if you need it to kind of, sit up a little bit better. This one, if I completely keep it open, it's not going to stay completely level. Let's see here. So this one does kind of hold it up a little bit. Now, I'm not going to give this one like a perfect rating when it comes down to it. I mean, it looks as if it is going to protect it quite a bit, especially with this glass right here as well too. Because again, this was, it came with its own glass just sitting right here that is protecting the front of the device. So, a little bit of protection. I don't know, I'll probably have to spend a little bit more time with it. Looks as if all the cutouts are looking really good. The hinge is just kind of pretty weird because it does kind of move. It like overlaps over it, kind of like a convertible. So that's kind of different. I'm not really fully used to that. Kickstand seems to be okay, but not perfect. But it will come in handy because, again, just like the Fold, you're able to move this at pretty much any angle you would want. Or maybe it's at least just like a little bit of a fidget toy for you. But yeah, so this is So this is pretty fun. Now, when it comes down to the second link below the video inside the description in terms of cases, this is from Lebeagle. And this one, you're going to notice to look pretty much the exact same, except for instead of having a kickstand, this one actually does still have the kickstand. But instead of that little ring on the back, it's going to now have a little strap. So if you feel like you're going to drop your phone, you'd be able to put your hand into the strap. So this is the strapped version. But when you take a look at this thing, it's literally the exact same thing. Now, when it comes down to a lot of these cases, which is the reason why I wanted to buy it, when it comes down to a lot of these cases, they're pretty much almost all sourced from the same location somewhere overseas, wherever they may make it, if it's China or Taiwan. They're pretty much almost the exact same as a shell, but then there is small little nuances and changes you can do. So these are pretty much almost the exact same case, even though they're completely different companies. But this one will now give you that ability for the strap that's in the very back. So let's just go through. Let's see what this one feels like. I snapped on the back right there. Right here, we're going to do the exact same thing. Now, as this closes up, it's going to use its magnet right here, basically, to kind of close itself and, enclose the device. When you open it up, I mean, this one feels pretty good. I do like the fact that there's something like right here I'm touching, it's giving me a little bit more hold. If I put my hand actually in it, there we go. So if you feel like, you're holding onto it, someone might bump into you, you don't have to worry about it because you do now have this little band or this little strap on the back. Same thing with the edge right here. It's acting pretty much almost kind of like a convertible, like a soft top or hard top or whatever, where it's kind of just moving over and it's using its magnets to kind of snap into place right here. But yeah, so you do have protection with that front glass right there. You have protection all around the phone. You do have a strap. I'm going to give this one a higher rating than the other. So let's say maybe the first case, I'm going to give it probably a 7. This one, I'm going to give it a good 8, maybe 8.5. I do feel it to be a little bit better when it comes down to the strap, because I'm not only relying on hoping that the kickstand on the back of it is going to help the device. So you do have kickstand, you got protective glass on the front, as well as the strap on the back. I mean, it's doing what it's supposed to do. I don't really see any issues with it just yet. I may use this one when I play with this one for the week, just so I can kind of see, exactly what's going on. But yeah, so this is case number 2. I'm going to give this one that higher rating versus the first one. And now for the third option, this one's going to be coming from Spigen. I've actually done quite a few videos for Spigen. I've used Spigen quite a few times. This one right here is the Pixel Fold. This is the Ultra Hybrid. So this one I also wanted to test out. Again, this way, you wouldn't have to go out there and purchase all these and find out if they're good or bad. So on the inside, you will have these little adhesive strips. These are little instructions to let you know where to place these onto these clear cases right here. So then this way you'd be able to have them, stick onto the phone more permanently. Now, what's going to happen is I'm not going to use them, only because I'm probably going to be switching between these different cases to figure out exactly which one is the one that I want to use. So initially, the very first thing here is this one's clear. I love it. I can actually see the whole entire device. It looks good. This one is more rubber. Now, I don't feel it going to slip out of my hand. So when I hold on to it, because it is made of, it feels like rubber, you have that better grip. And it feels softer to touch. It feels as if this one might do a little bit more protection. So when it comes down to these other two over here, I like some of the functionality when it comes down to, this one has the kickstand. It has protective on the very front of the device. And then also too, this one has the band. So this way you can hold on to it, the strap along with the kickstand. So it will be protecting the phone. It is basically just hard plastic. So it's going to protect it to an extent. But I feel that with what Spigen is using for its materials, this one is better for drop protection. So I would feel more comfortable if I dropped this phone with this case. So if you're worried about drops and hurting your phone, cracking and breaking, you might want to take a look at this one here. Plus you can just see the beautiful phone design or whatever color you have. You do have the lip protecting the home screen, or like the outer screen. So if you lay it face down, you're gonna be perfectly fine. You also have a little bit of the wraparound around the camera. So this way, when you lay it down on its back, it's not going to hurt as much. So yeah, this one feels better. I think it's going to protect it better. when I hold on to it, it's not slippery at all. It has a stickiness to it, which is something that you do kind of want when it comes down to a case, in terms of if you're just holding on to it and someone bumps into you. I mean, it does, yeah, it's got some really good friction there. The other ones over here, again, because they are hard plastics, they don't really have that friction. But if you are more interested in these ones here, because it also has the front protection and a kickstand, I would suggest this one with this band or the strap in the back. So this way you can hold on to it and have that, you know, comfort that you have, you know, a better hold on to the device. But yeah, I'm going to push this one for people that want to have more protection. So this Spigen option right here, this one will be linked in the description below as the third option. And then now comparing the front outer screens, which we've basically looked at everything on the inner when it's completely unfolded. But yeah, you can just see how much bigger real estate is happening on the Pixel Fold. Again, this one kind of reminds me a little bit more of the Surface Duo, and it kind of had a baby with the Samsung Z Fold4. I mean, this right here, it looks as if it has a lot of really good things happening. I'm excited to see what's going to happen after using it for the full entire week. But yeah, so for anybody who doesn't want to always open their device and have a closed experience, because sometimes when you do go from a fold and you switch over into a little regular candy bar shaped device, this is just easy because it's just sitting right there. There's nothing that you have to do. Everything is just right here in your hands. You don't have to open anything up, fully operational. So this front screen here looks to be a little bit more promising than the Z Fold 4. But yeah, so this is the comparisons right here of the size. You can kind of see the differences. This one over here does completely close, completely flat. This one does have that little opening in the middle, you know, does give the ability of dust to get in the middle, but I've never had any problems with it. Again, here's the back, almost the exact same color. Camera layout is a little different, but when you think about it, sometimes with third-party apps, you'll be flipping your phone anyways, so it's going to be pretty much looking like the exact same thing. But yeah, that's the initial video here. This is the first thing. I'm going to play with it for a full week, give you a better analysis and judgment of the phone, but I do like it. I do like the fact that, you know, if you open up an application, you have the option to have a smaller experience. You can consume it with one hand, also, you know, not having to move your eyes everywhere. But then when you just simply rotate it, boom, there you go. You do have your full screen option right there if that's what you're looking for. So it gives you best of both worlds, really. So yeah, I'm excited to play with it. If you're looking for cases, I would suggest the Spigen one that's linked below. It's the third option. Other than that, you can take a look at the one that has the strap from the one from before. But yeah, that is today's video. I'm going to play with this thing. I'm going to get a better in-depth video. I'm going to give you a video later on, probably 10 days later or 2 weeks later. But that was everything I wanted to cover. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Subscribe on the very bottom left-hand side. And if you like this video, then more than likely you'll also like this video. And I'll see you guys later.